How's you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshops. I'm glad you dropped in. And the project today is we're going to build ourselves, or try to build ourselves, a metal storage rack. When I had the shop painted, I had to take all the outside stuff off the shop, like shutters and signs and brackets and hose reels. And anyway, one of the things I had mounted on the shed at the back of the shop was I had some shelf standards there with those little clip-in shelves, and I had metal hung on that. I always save my metal, like anything longer than a couple of feet I'll put on the storage rack. Anything less than a couple of feet, I have a drawer over there under the bench that I put the steel in. But I like to save all the steel that I have for little projects here and there. But anyway, on this rack there was a couple of things I didn't like about it. One of them was the steel was out in the weather, and the rain and the snow and whatnot was getting on the steel, and it was rusting it quicker than normal. Like it's going to rust even no matter where I keep it, because I have to keep it outside. But it was rusting quicker than normal. And the other thing was, it was up quite high, and it was kind of precarious the way I had the steel laying on it. And I was afraid of the steel maybe falling off the rack and hitting somebody, and I didn't want that to happen, especially the grandkids. You know, like there's kind of a little path behind the shed there, and the grandkids always used to be back and forth down that path playing tag or whatever they do. And I was afraid that some of the steel might fall off the rack and hit them. So anyways, I decided I'm going to build myself a metal storage rack. Just a couple little pieces, you know, with an angled front on them, a straight back, a couple of brackets sticking out so I can lay the steel on that. And then I can put this rack in my temporary shelter that's behind the shop, and it'll keep the steel out of the weather for the most part, and out of the way of the kids, or Nanny or I for that matter, when we're out around the yard. So that's what we're up to. We're going to build ourselves a metal storage rack, and I'm going to get to use up some more scrap wood in the shop, which is always nice for me. And with the price of wood these days, who wants to go buy new stuff, right? So let's use up some of the old wood. So let's get at her and see how I can make this metal storage rack. Okay, I scrounged some wood. I think I got enough wood to make this. And what it's going to be is just going to be a straight up piece at the back, and then an angled piece across the front. Something like that, right? And then I'll have some pieces go in here to hold the steel. Or at least that's the plan. It may change as I go along, you never know. And I've already made a few cuts, like I've determined what the angle of the front is going to be, so I cut these pieces on an angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to work at laying out the way it's going to be held together, like the cross pieces. And anyway, I have to make two of these, so that's what we're up to. It'll look better when I'm finished, I'm sure. Not fat enough. So we're going to try and set this up here. Doesn't fit very well, but I think I can fix it. Just going to cut a little bit off at the top of this piece here. Alright, So that's going to be one of my end frames. And I'm going to glue and screw it. And then I'm going to have a pleat that goes across the top here to hold the top together. But before I glue it and screw it, I want to make provision to have my shelf, my support arms come out here. Alright, we're going to start some glue up, assembly and glue up, and I'm going to use some PL Premium for this project. The reason I chose PL Premium, first of all, it's an excellent adhesive, and this is going to be an outdoor project where I need to have lots of voids filled in my glue ups because I'm using rough lumber. PL Premium works ideal for exterior projects with rough cut wood because it expands to fill the gap. One thing about PL is, here she comes, it's hard to get it out of the tube sometimes. You gotta have four arms on you like Hulk Hogan. Boy, it shouldn't be that hard coming out of the tube, that's for sure. Okay. So now we just set this in. And when I'm gluing with PL, I like to set the pieces in place and then wiggle them around just to smear out the glue. Get as much surface contact as I can. Boy, if that was any harder to come out of there, I'd have no bottom lip. I'd chew it right off. Okay. Now, this top shelf is going to go right here. I've marked it out already, so I know where it goes. So we'll put some PL on here, and I've got marks on the boards where they're going to intersect. Good God, this stuff must be bad. Is there a best before date on it? I don't see any kind of a best before date. Oh well. Alright, that's the top bracket on. Then the middle bracket goes right here. So again, these are all pre-marked, so I don't have to really measure them. Line up on my marks as close as I can. And then last but not least, the bottom shelf, or the bottom arm. So I have my pieces with the arms, the shelf arms glued on them. Now I want to put a piece across the top. And this piece that I have is just a piece of 1x6 and it's 36 inches long. So I want to make my little A-frames here 36 inches apart. So we'll put some more of this PL on here. No side is worse than the other. So we put that on there. Okay, I'm going to do the same on this side now. So, like I say, this project is using up scraps of wood, so I had a couple of pieces of 1x6 hemlock left over, and these I think are, I don't know, 54 inches long or something. Yeah, 54. And my standards are 36 inches apart, but I'm just going to let these swing off the end, and that way it'll be more support for material that I'm going to put in the middle here, because this is where I want to put these ones. This shelf is going to go in the middle. I also have another old piece of scrap that was just kicking around, and it's 1 inch thick. This is spruce, not hemlock. So I'm going to cut a piece of this, 54 inches, put that in behind it to sort of make this kind of a half-decent base. So I'm going to cut this off 54, I'll be right back. Alright, so the plan is to set these in there, like so. And then I have another piece of scrap, and I want to put that in the back here just to give it a little bit of backing so that material won't flop off the back. 8 7/8, sticking over each side. Perfect. Okay, so I just ripped a little bit off the edge of this, so now hopefully this is going to fit right in here and act as another shelf. Well, there it is. Kind of wobbly, but not too bad. I think once we get some steel on it, it'll be good and sturdy. And the steel can go, I've got 3 shelves there for laying steel. I've got a couple of shelves inside, maybe like for shorter pieces. Plus the top for, you know, horizontal surfaces. You know how valuable they are. Well, a couple of things I have to apologize for. First of all, the lighting is poor in here. And my shelter is a mess. I've got everything crammed in here, but I did manage to dig a little hole to put that shelf in there. So I've got all my steel piled on it there now. Let me show you from this side. So I think it's going to live good in there. It's nice. It doesn't take up a whole pile of room, and it's a lot safer having them in there. But I like this solution. I think that's going to work good. Try to get a better view of it here. So made that little rack, and it holds a lot of steel, and that's good because it's in the shelter now. It's out of the way. It's easy to see what I have. It's easy to get to. Whereas before, when it was on the back of the shed, it was always an adventure when you go to get a piece of steel off it, because sure as anything, the one you didn't want was the one that fell on you. Anyways, I hope you liked this little project. The thing I liked most about it was I got to use up a bunch of scrap wood from around the shop, and like I always say, I save everything, and sometimes the shop just gets packed with wood and scraps, pieces here and there, so it's nice to use some of that up. So, hey, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad you dropped by. I hope you come back often, and don't forget, leave me some messages and give me a thumbs up. I like that. And for my regular viewers, thank you all very, very much for all you do for my channel. I hope everyone has a great week. I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay healthy. We'll talk to you.